after.
I'd like to start tonight's workshop. We're unable to have had a special meeting tonight because we were unable to hold a quorum, so could I have everybody stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, guys, are under new business, scheduled meetings for January through June 2020 attached. In years previous, we held opposite Mondays workshops. I don't know what your guys' thoughts were on this. Roger, any thoughts, please?
So basically, you want to add on the third week of the month, a workshop. That's the only difference.
I was thinking on holding a workshop every other Monday,
Opposite
opposite of the meetings.
Opposite of the meetings.
In addition to that third Monday. Currently, the schedule shows the third Monday of the month as a workshop session by itself.
So are you saying you want to have it on the first and the third, or just the third?
What do you want?
Opposite every other
So take for
Monday.
instance, like the 13th, we'd have a regular scheduled meeting on the 13th. He wants to have a workshop on the 20th, because then the next meeting falls on the 27th. So technically, we'd be meeting every once a
We'd be
week.
meeting once a week on Mondays. Every other Monday would be a workshop, and every other Monday would be a workshop meeting.
Well, you're only listing the third.
I know, this is just a tentative.
So that's what my question is, you want to have it on the first and the third, workshops on the first and the third Mondays, meetings on the second and fourth.
Correct. Right now, I don't have a problem with Mondays. I know years in the past, we used to have workshops on Wednesdays and meetings on the following Wednesdays, but again, that's up to the Board of Trustees. And unfortunately, we don't have the trustees here to make a decision on that tonight. But I have no problem hosting a workshop on the opposite Mondays. I think it's a good opportunity for us to get together, discuss issues that we need to discuss. That gives us an ample, at least a week to get it onto the agenda and talk about it during the regular scheduled meeting.
Yep, so on the weeks we have the workshop, we'll try to get you all the information that we can on the projects and so forth that are listed for the next meeting, and you'll have an entire week to look that over and make some decisions and ask questions. So that was kind of the direction we'd like to go on that. So think it over, if you have any other thoughts on that. We have an Urban Vantage contract that was with Travis Gordon, who took over for Nate Aldridge. This is just an extension of the current contract that he took over from Nate. It would be backdated, started January 1st, so that's the time of his contract. Everybody should have a copy of that contract already to look over. So if there's any questions on that, any questions, thoughts, comments?
I don't have a copy of it in front of me, but the fee structure was similar to, thank you. The fee structure was similar to the one we had prior?
Actually, it's $1,000 less than what Nate was in his contract,
Okay.
from $25,000 to $24,000 for a 12-month period. And I'll tell you that the services that Nate and Travis have provided are immenseful. They're absolutely, we couldn't do these projects without this help. So this is a service that helps us get through the contracts, helps administer the grants and so forth and so on. So, and is going between, a lot of times between us and the state on these contracts. So it's a very useful, needed position, I believe.
Is there a way that we can get Travis to meet with us at least once a month or in one of our meetings?
Sure, I can ask him to do that. Yep.
Kind of keeps us updated and keeps the board updated of
Yep.
current events?
Probably the workshops would be best. Yeah.
Yes. So either the first or third Monday of the month. Okay.
Yeah, other than that, just the same contract as last year, but just have $1,000 a year less. Thanks.
Okay, we have a police chief vacancy, and we have some updated information today on that. Apparently, the state needed to call a test, and it needed to be done by, we had to make a request by November, apparently, and Francine Emily from Chautauqua County Civil Service will be giving me that information. So we missed that deadline. Brad didn't inform us of his departure until after that. So instead of a test called for in March, this year it'll be March of 2021. So this appointment will be for over a year. Well, that's something to think over there. And I know
Yeah.
we have some interviews coming up this week. So that's the situation on that.
Okay.
Any questions or comments?
No, I don't at this
We
time.
don't have much of a choice, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. Standing committee appointments. What I did was I did a hybrid of what we used to have for committees and what we have been for the last 4 years and kind of put them together. I have a chair and vice chair for each committee. Look those over. If there's something that you'd rather be on or you feel you better fit for, let me know. But these are the committee choices that I have chosen. We have some openings here, some blank spots that'll be with the 5th trustee, when a trustee gets appointed to be in those spots. So that's where we're at with those committees. Any questions, concerns, or comments on those? Anybody?
I see you're starting a couple of subcommittees, community events, LED lighting and things in that line. Are there any other ones that you want to consider putting together in the future?
Anything that you guys come up with would be fine. It's a fluid document, so we can add and take away any of these things. So if there's subcommittees that you come up with that you would like to chair or be part of, please let us know. We can add those.
Okay.
Again, this is a fluid document. It can be updated and added and subtracted at any time. We also, at next meeting, we'll be doing our village official reappointments for all our department heads. So, I don't know if that was included on our, yep, you guys got that. Yep.
I saw, What?
All the department heads.
Oh, this is the resolution from January 7th of 2019,
The last time we did it.
right?
Any questions, concerns, or comments on any of the reappointments?
Technically, they are all expired today at 5 o'clock, but there seems to be a carryover until the appointments are made at our following meeting. Is that correct? Jim? Yeah? Okay.
Okay. The next item, deputy clerk treasurer. This is a position that I spoke quite a bit with Jim on, that I believe we need for backup on these two positions as clerk or treasurer. If either one of these positions, people are gone in their position, we need people to sign checks and take care of business. We'd like to have Lori do this. She's very capable of this position. Jim, you have any comments on this?
Well, Laurie does a lot of the work already. She's helped train Anne Marie. She's been familiar with, she's been here for almost at least 18 years that I know of. And she handles a lot of the financials, pays the bills. Some of that is part of her duties, but there really are some that are over and above that. Like the last time before I was appointed dragged out of the audience, you didn't have anybody. If you'd had a deputy treasurer, you'd have been okay to continue for a few weeks without being in a rush to have to hire anybody, because a deputy's position is mainly works in the absence of. But she handles all the bank reconciliations, and so I really think it's a necessary position, and she's more than qualified to handle it.
Have you spoken with Lori?
Yes,
She interested in the position?
yes, she is.
Okay.
Sound pretty good, Raj?
Yeah,
Or
it
Pecos?
makes sense.
Okay. I gotta say your last names now, there's more than one. Say Roger, is that okay? You don't know who I'm talking about. I had some other things for new business as well. The filling of the vacant trustee seat, we have to do that sometime here. My thoughts on that were the last 3 vacancies we had, they were filled with persons from that similar party, except in the last one with Mark Ruckman. He's independent, and it was filled with a person who was from the Democratic Party. I just want your thoughts on, and your questions and concerns on, if, to fill that position with somebody from the same party as I was. That's kind of where I was thinking. Any thoughts, Roger? And Roger?
In my research, there's the 3 last openings. There was no rhyme or reason. They appointed, in some cases, they appointed somebody who ran, in other cases, they did not, so I guess according to the charter, we appoint a qualified person. So, being the new guy on the block here, I assume that's what we're gonna do, look for a qualified person.
Absolutely, somebody who has the best interest of our village in mind. Roger Britz?
I have to agree. It is, according to our charter, it is up to the Board of Trustees to determine how we want to fill that seat. Again, with the absence of 2 trustees this evening, we can't really sit down and come up with a plan. I'd like to hear their opinion on how they would like to pursue filling this vacancy. And then we'll have to have either executive session to discuss the details and then decide how we're going to go that avenue. So until we can get a full board in here to discuss this, I'll wait to see.
Okay. One more thing, we need to, you guys were all sent the bid documents for the Barker Common project. Please review those, and we need to address that and act on it next week with a resolution. Do you have any questions, concerns, or comments on?
Did that come out today?
Yeah.
Or was the email sent on Saturday? Everybody should have gotten it on Saturday.
Sent out Saturday. The
It
Burger
was
Common,
sent from the engineer on
Bids.
Saturday, right?
the bid documents were sent out Saturday morning.
I don't know if I got that.
I can make sure.
You didn't
Yeah.
get one because I didn't have your
Yeah, okay, I
right
was gonna say
email
that.
address. But you should have received it today, I think, but
I'll send
it's only a 230-page.
230
Bid
pages.
document, it should
Yeah.
be easy reading,
We'd like some,
to look it over.
we'd like you to determine what you want to do by tomorrow morning.
Yes,
Roger, please.
we would like your answer
Not a
tomorrow.
problem. I don't need much sleep.
It's like a novel, don't worry, it's good.
But we'd like you to review them, and your board has to review them and approve them.
Right.
And then we can advertise for bid, hopefully at the next meeting.
Okay.
And
That's for the Barker Commons project?
Barker Common
Correct.
grant, right. And then then when the bids come back, then we can compare the cost to what's estimated to be budgeted. And if it exceeds the amount that's been budgeted, then we'll have to decide, you'll have to decide how you want to pay for the difference. It can either be through a bond anticipation note, or if it's, in my opinion, if it's under $100,000 difference, then we probably could appropriate the money out of the fund balance. But those were the choices that you would have, that you could make, you would have to make. So.
Have you looked it over, Jim? Have you?
Well, no, I didn't read through the 230 pages. But I have reviewed the cost estimates, and right now, the estimates indicate that if the bids held to them, that would be in excess of $71,000 that we would have to come up with over and above what's been.
Over and above,
Yeah.
right?
Is that similar to what you gave me? the other
Yeah.
day then?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, that's it. I just emailed you the copy, I can forward the copy.
But I'm suggesting that we go to bed on what we have, and then see what the cost, and when the costs come in, then we can
Okay.
see if there's any adjustments that you want.
So we don't have to accept the bids, take a look at it again, and then go from there, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
if the bids come in lower, we might be. we
Might be a good
fine,
shape.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what we're hoping, for the bids to be lower than that amount.
Any chance you can set up an appointment to have the engineer come down and meet with us next week?
Well, we can ask,
That'd be Joy Kubler.
yeah, do you have Joy come in at the next
Yeah,
meeting?
you don't mind?
No, I don't mind. I don't know if she's available.
Right, I'm just saying, you
Yeah.
don't reach out to her and see if she
We
can
also
join
are
us?
gonna have the engineers on the water treatment plant project coming in with their final bid reports and recommendations on awarding the bid for that project too. But that's, we certainly have time.
Yeah, okay.
I'll be glad to call her and see if she's available.
If she's not available Monday, maybe if she's available sometime this week, in case we have
ask.
questions.
Yeah, okay. You'd wanna,
Late-
with her.
Later in the week. I have 200
Yeah.
pages to read.
how's Saturday? No, just kidding. Yeah, no, I'll find out.
Okay.
Thank you, Jim. We also have one account clerk position to be replacing, and Jim and I were discussing, we may want to think about making it a senior account clerk because of the different duties and stuff that are done over on that side of the office. This would be John Weiss's position. Any thoughts?
What's the difference between an account clerk and a senior account clerk?
Well, the senior account clerk has more of a background and maybe bookkeeping, and this position is the billing, doing the water billing,
Right.
making the bank deposits. So there's some bookkeeping that's involved and accounting. The position has been held in the past just by an account clerk. We canvassed the list, and in fact, I think there are interviews set up for only 2 people responded, it showed any interest. So I just mentioned to the mayor, if you wanted to take a look at another list, you could do that. There's nothing that says that you'd have to stick. Now, the position would pay a little bit more money, because it's in the
If it was a senior?
contract, it's in the CSEA contract, but
If it was a senior account clerk, you're talking.
if it was a senior account clerk, right?
Do you feel the duties are more aligned with a senior account clerk?
I think it is, but depends on the qualifications of the person that's an account clerk. A lot of times, people take those exams, they have more qualification, but they just take them because they want to be on a civil service list, so that's why you go through that's why you go through the interview process to find out just what their background is and experience.
So there would be 2 separate civil service lists? Like
There
if we
would be
decide to go with the
there'd
one,
be 2 separate civil service lists.
Okay, right now, we've only tapped the
They've
one
only
list, correct?
Yeah, right, the
Okay.
account clerk one.
Well, again, that's something else we can discuss with the rest of the board, but I'm fine with maybe taking a look at a second list and look at a senior account clerk.
So a senior account clerk would require an accounting background?
Not necessarily. I don't know offhand there are certain qualifications that are spelled out, and I can find that out for you,
Okay.
but I know they're more involved than just an account clerk. For example, Lori Richardson's a senior account clerk. So,
Yeah, I mean, I think we're just trying to put the right people in the right places with the right education and experience and be more efficient and effective in everything that we do, so. If that works out that way, then, great.
I believe we do have interview set up with the 2 people that are on the account clerk. So you might want to conduct those interviews first. And, if one of them appears to meet your qualifications, then you can just make an appointment from those. If not, then your option is, actually, you could canvass more people on the account clerk list. We only canvassed 15, I believe. Only 2 indicated an interest.
Right.
And then at that time, you could also then call for the senior account clerk list and canvass that and see what you can get. In the meantime, I will get you a copy of what the different qualifications are for each title, so.
Okay.
Thanks, Jim. Yeah, sounds good.
I have no further new business. Do either of you gentlemen have any new business to bring up to discuss at workshop tonight?
I do not. Oh, I'm gonna maybe look for a grant for an energy study on this building, so it's not 100 degrees in here and we're opening the windows, but I think might be grant money for the study.
Right.
There
Probably
is
not for the
one
repairs.
item that I wanted to mention, and you want to speak to the change order? No, I have you confused with somebody else. Okay,
Fenner.
is that Dan? Is that Rayner?
No.
No. Okay, sorry.
You can still speak upon
We-
it if you
there-
want.
There's a proposed change order at the wastewater plant. It's for about $18,000. And I'd like to, I'm just giving you a heads up now, but I'll have the particulars for the next board meeting. In the meantime, they're going to approach EFC because they have to approve the change order. So the engineers will start that process, and then I'll get you the details on the change order at the plant.
That's on the current project, there's a change order, you're saying?
Yeah.
Jim, where are we at with the 3 centrifuges? Do we have 2 working and 1 still down, or?
Yeah, we have two
Two are-
working, and one, they're trying to find parts for the motor that drives them, and I did talk to Sean today about that. He's got a meeting with the mayor on Friday, and I asked if he would, I just suggested that he contact the engineers and see if there's some other alternatives, because those, I forgot what they're called, but they're the engine that drives the and they're old. I mean, they're original, actually. That plant was completed in 1977. So he's going to explore that with the engineers and see if there's some, an alternative, if they can come up with a different type of
Motor.
engine that drives the,
So with this current project, we weren't replacing those?
no, apparently not. And that's really critical because, pretty obvious, we can't treat sludge if we can't get it to the plant.
Yeah.
And so that's how it was designed.
Jim,
And to
was
my
this-
knowledge, they're not changing, they haven't.
Was this the one pump that went down a couple weeks
Yeah, it
ago?
was like a pump, yeah. It was
Or a motor pump?
Yeah.
Okay.
actually, we were down two.
Two, yeah.
They were able to rebuild one, now they're trying to rebuild the other. And they're having problems finding parts for it because they don't make them anymore.
Okay. Anne Marie, did you have anything?
I just wanted to know if you were gonna keep the time the same for the meetings. If you wanted to discuss that. The schedule says 7:30 with workshop starting at 6:30, so.
Yeah, last year, guys, we just, instead of having the meeting at a certain time, the meeting started at 6:30, starting with the workshop as part of the meeting, and when the workshop was through, the meeting, the general meeting started thereafter. That was how we did it last year. Any thoughts, concerns, or questions on that?
Whatever the majority wants, for me, earlier the better. So, I mean, I just assume start at 6:30, but if everybody prefers to 7:30, that's fine with me.
Roger, you were part of that last part.
Yeah, I agree with Roger, too. I like the meetings right now at 6:30, seems to be an ample time. People have time to get home, maybe clean up, have dinner, and be able to make our meetings and our workshops.
Okay.
I think early, 6:30 is fine, 7:30 gets a little late in the afternoon.
Okay, so 6:30 would be
Yep.
good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anything else, Anne Marie?
Nothing, thank you.
Okay. This is one of our first workshops, so we just did a workshop, so trustees, if it's okay with you, would you entertain opening up the floor to the public for public questions or comment?
I don't mind.
I have no,
And
yeah, go right ahead.
Anne Marie, do you have the statement there about or?
I do not, I apologize.
Okay, it just basically says,
we'll forego it.
please, you have 3 minutes to speak on your behalf. Please do not use any derogatory comments, so forth and so on, and if you just state your name and where you live, that'd be super. So at this time, I'd like to open up the floor for any questions or concerns. Okay.
Clerk. But I didn't hear the qualifications for the vacant seat. You said the most qualified person will be selected. What are those qualifications
For that position?
for that position?
Civil service puts out a list
Yeah.
of qualifications, and we go by the civil service list, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, the trustee, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you say trustee. Okay.
The most qualified person will be selected.
It says, the charter says a qualified person. So basically, a resident who's voting age, I believe.
Those are the qualifications.
Yeah,
The
whatever,
charter-
whatever it is, yeah,
the charter
whatever
left it wide open, yeah.
qualification, a resident of the village, must be 18 or older. Again, I don't have a copy of the charter with me tonight, but we can definitely get you the details.
I've met with several people. I'm sure the other trustees have too, who have expressed interest. So I assume at some point the board will talk, the whole board will talk, and we'll try to come up with a candidate.
At this time, yeah, we don't have our full board here to fully discuss that, so it's kind of a moot point. So, does that answer your question? Anybody else, please? Go ahead, sir.
Yes, Mark Twitchell, Temple Street. As you know, there is a simmering issue in the community concerning the demolition of a historic structure. A number of concerned citizens are putting together a documentation, and since we don't have the full board here this evening, we'll save the presentation of our information until such time, hopefully next week. But just to give the board a heads up that there will be some requests made of the village government that might be appropriate, that steps that could be taken in order to preserve the Fenner House. And in the meantime, there is a Facebook page that contains a significant amount of dialogue, both pro and con. It's called Save the Fenner House. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else, please?
Dave Berman, Chestnut Street. Just wanted to ask what you guys are planning to do about the website. It's been languishing in its current state for quite some time. It's not really in compliance with New York State law the way it functions currently. For example, it would be very beneficial to the community if we could have the agendas for these things online as soon as possible. Certainly, by the time you guys have them, there'd be no reason why we shouldn't be able to have them in the public as well. So, I'm just curious what you guys are thinking about in terms of the website.
Well, one of our trustees here, Trustee Britz, was starting to work on that in the last term, and he's going to continue to work on that. We do need a secure website. Right now, our website is unsecure. It could be done over a lot better with different links to different departments and so forth and so on, and links to be able to get your agendas for the meetings and so forth and so on. So, Raj, can you elaborate a little bit
Thanks,
more on
that's a
that?
very good question.
Yes.
I have been doing some research. I have been in contact with 3 web developing companies. They are specialized in municipal government websites. They're actually designed to be very user-friendly for each department head, but yet it's controlled and it's secure on one main server. I've got 3 quotes that I'm going to be presenting to the board, have their review. From there, we'll decide on which one's best for our village and move forward. So, but thank you.
Yes, in addition to that, I would like to see a unified emails for all our employees, and those be unified, so forth and so on, so it's more consistent and it's the government identified, I guess, where I would go. So, thank you.
And we'll be putting up some samples of some of the sites that are used by these companies so that you can all have an idea how they're going to look and maybe a design. I'm not going to make the final selection on the design. I'd like to see some public input on that. So again, there's, you know as well as I do, you can design a website to look like anything. So yeah, I'd like to, talk with the mayor and form a small committee once we decide on a company, and then we'll kind of come up with some type of image of how we want it to look. But thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else, please?
If there's going to be a formal presentation, like Mr. Twitchell wants to do, can that be on the agenda, or does it have to be on the public portion? In other words, if we have a request from an outside group, can that go on the agenda?
Yes. Why not? Yeah.
Yeah, trustee can actually request to put that on the agenda. That's correct. You just need another sponsor.
Okay,
but that's not a big deal.
yeah, I'm
We
just
can put
thinking
whatever, we
this
can put
way.
whatever you want on the
That'd
agenda.
be for resolution, just to
Yeah,
have an
no, he can
item
put
for
whatever he
this.
wants on
I'm
there.
thinking
would
just
be-
for a
yes.
presentation. yeah.
We could have you on the agenda for next meeting.
Yep.
This isn't an official meeting, so I don't think I have to call.
Anyone from the Small Business Development, or Small Business Revolution would like to speak, please? Now would be the time to stand up and kind of keep pushing forward on what we're doing on the committees.
Yes, Michelle, thank you.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Michelle Joy from Telegraph Shop, the SBR, and also the Chamber of Commerce. We are in the last final week of pushing. We hope that everyone registers online, or they can text My Fredonia to 31996. You will only get reminders that week. It's not like we're going to inundate you after or before. We just need to remind everybody to vote, because we're shooting for at least 500,000 votes, and we need votes to win. It's a huge opportunity for Fredonia. I guess that's it.
Thank you.
Yes, go ahead, okay, go ahead.
You can vote every day, one vote per person per device. So if you have 6 devices, vote 6 times that day.
Yep.
And every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day for a week.
This whole project here, this has been not only a Fredonia accomplishment and goal, it's a community, it's a region, it's a state. This is something it's been unifying our community with our businesses, our community, and our community leaders. We've all come together and banded to work towards this project, and this is just the start of something great for our community and our region to continue to realize that we need to support, and our village is based on small business. So this is what we need to keep our village alive and our community alive. So, and we've had great support from surrounding community leaders, county, state, and federal. So this is something that's really unifying actually everybody on a complete level. So I appreciate everybody's assistance and help, and let's go, let's win. Yes.
My name is Julia Ventura, Fredonia. The other thing we want to talk about for the Small Business Revolution is we're going to have a rally next week, the 14th. I believe it's a Tuesday? Yes. And it's at 7:30 in the morning, and we're going to have it at the Opera House. Again, it went over so well the first time, so we're going to have it again at the Opera House, and it's going to feature a live feed off of Facebook. From New York City. The Small Business Revolution team is going to be in New York City, and they're going to tell the announcement for who makes the top 5 for the Small Business Revolution. Prior to the 14th, we still need people to share the information, do the hashtags, and all of the things that we've been doing, but then starting the 14th around 8 in the morning here, we will hear who's in the top 5, and if we are in the top 5, we then start our voting. When we are in the top 5, we will then start our voting, and we were going to teach people how to vote that day, make sure they get online and vote right there in their seat, and so that we're going to also encourage people to tell 5 friends or 10 friends so that they start the voting. It'll be through the 21st at, I believe, 10 o'clock at night is the last, or 11 o'clock at night will be the last vote taken, and then we will hear from the Small Business Revolution after that, the winner, and we hope Fredonia, hashtag MyFredonia, is the winner. So please join us in that quest. We are the epicenter here in Fredonia. The whole county, our neighboring communities, and actually we are the only one in New York State that is a part of this wonderful thing that started by one of our local residents that used to live here and put our application in, Grace Schakowsky, and we thank her because this has been wonderful for all of our community, and it's been a great time for all of us, and we really hope to go forward.
And Grace will be here on Tuesday.
And Grace will be here Tuesday.
Did we invite like the Buffalo media? Because it'd be great to
Yes.
get it on channels
Yes.
2, 4, and 7.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, and if you think of anybody, please, you know who the members are. You know, if you have an idea that we might not have, please let us know, and we'll try to get them contacted. And we want your kids to vote that are over 18. We want you to spread the word to classmates that were maybe born and raised in Fredonia, or that came to college in Fredonia, or residents that have maybe moved on, that, or your friends, you know, still that you could contact, because there's a lot of people that really are connected to Fredonia. You can go across the world or go to New Hampshire and you'll find people connected to Fredonia.
Thank you. Anybody else from the audience? Okay, if there's no further business, I close this workshop. Thank you.